Emotionally unavailable.
Ah, shit. Damn this chair. I hate it. Okay, welcome to Emotionally Unavailable. It's nice to meet you. I was just looking over your profile again, and I'm really excited about this conversation. Do you say you're in recovery? Do you say you're a recovering addict? Do you say you're sober? I'm learning that people use different words.
Yeah, I just refer to it as being sober. I don't look at it as I'm recovering. I'm just living a completely new life.
Okay, I like that. So,
Yeah,
is it okay if we start from the beginning and I ask you some questions about like how you grew up?
sure.
Okay. So I'm curious about like where you grew up.
Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, okay, not far from me. I'm in Oklahoma. Are you
Oh
still in
yeah.
Texas?
No, ma'am. I'm in Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, right on. Okay. And that's a very different place than Texas. Okay. And were your parents married when you were growing up?
They were. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And did they have a good relationship?
Uh, my dad was always at work. From what I remember as a kid, they seemed to have a good relationship. I was brought up with support and love and kindness, and we didn't go without. My dad worked really hard, and but yeah, they were until they got a divorce. When I don't remember exactly, maybe I was 12, something like that,
Okay.
11, 12, maybe.
Was your dad blue
Yeah,
collar?
yeah, he worked for American Airlines his whole life.
Oh, wow. Okay. And do you have siblings?
I do. I've got a brother that's 14 months younger than me.
Oh, so just you and him?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to that because I feel like everybody's got like 18 siblings. I have a lot, but I was only raised with two of them in the house because we were the only ones who had the same, I have a brother 13 months older, 14 months younger, so I was the middle child.
Yeah.
And we have the same mom and dad. We have a oldest brother that we share with our dad, and then two younger half sisters that we got from our dad too. So that's what I'm
Got
used
you.
to. So I'm always like, wow, just two. Okay.
Well,
And
I do have a half sister. She's much older, but we don't. She was around when I was a little kid. From time to time, but she didn't live with us. She would come to visit every once in a while, but we're not really, that close.
yeah,
I haven't spoken to her in years.
really.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you? What was your experience growing up in Fort Worth, Texas?
It was a great life. I had a really good childhood.
So you liked school? How were
No,
you
no,
in
no,
school?
no, no. I didn't go there.
Okay. And what was school like for you?
Problematic. I just I was always the class clown. I was always getting in trouble. I was always, causing ruckus and just being in trouble all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have trouble staying seated?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, so that makes sense. Did you, because of your trouble in school, did you kind of develop an identity of like, I'm bad?
I'm bad?
Yeah, like, did you feel bad about yourself because you were in trouble a lot?
Not at all.
Good.
No, I
Okay.
I just always was having fun. I just liked pushing boundaries and like I said, I was always that class clown, always, was cracking jokes or making crazy funny comments and giving the teacher hell, but no, I never looked at myself as like a bad person or a bad kid. No, not
Okay,
at all.
good. But did you have that kind of personality where you also made the teacher laugh? And so, like, as much as she couldn't stand that you were disrupting her stuff all the time, she liked you and you were one of her favorites?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I get that too. Okay, so then what did you do after high school?
Well, high school was, I started getting into more trouble when my parents got a divorce. I started really lashing out, and not in anger. I don't think back then, I didn't think it was anger. It may have been looking back on it. However, high school is when my life changed for the worse, I guess is the only way to put it. I started drinking and doing drugs really early, like my freshman year. And then throughout my entire high school career and then the rest of my life. But it started, the beginning of it was all in the ninth grade. I mean, I had tried a beer when I was like 13 years old when I got sent to my aunt and uncle's house to kind of get out of trouble. My parents, were going through this divorce, and I drank a beer and remember feeling that I could breathe. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on. I just, the world was always loud to me, and I was just able to kind of get this breath of fresh air in a sense, but it didn't continue. Like, I just remember going, oh wow, this feels easier.
Yeah.
And then in the ninth grade is when, the high school parties, and I started using drugs in the ninth grade, hard drugs,
Really? Like what?
and coke, LSD, mushrooms,
Wow.
Xanax, Vicodin, weed, alcohol. And
Wow.
then in the 10th grade, it was my first heroin attempt, and or try, whatever you want to call it. And I started doing heroin for the next, let's see, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5, 6 years. I
Oh,
think
shit.
22 was the last time I got out of rehab for it, and hadn't touched it since. But
Well, thank God for
everything
that.
else was always a huge part of my life.
Yeah. I'm curious, did you start this stuff in high school out of curiosity or peer pressure? Not peer pressure, but to be cool, to fit in, or were you looking for an escape because you've heard this can offer that?
I think all three of them.
Okay.
I was definitely curious because when I started drinking and smoking pot at first, it took me out of the noise of life,
Mhm.
and I liked the way I felt. I just liked the way it made me feel. And I've always, like, I'm a true Aquarius. My brain does not shut off.
Uh-huh.
And in a way, the drugs and the alcohol allowed me to kind of slow those thoughts down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I remember just having fun with it. And
Mhm.
I wanted to see how much fun I could have with it. The social acceptance, I maybe been a little bit of it. I was always able to fit in wherever I went, but I don't think I was peer pressured into anything. If it was offered to me, I was just like,
You
all
were
right,
like,
let's go.
"Hell yeah. Hell yeah." Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
Well, so I'm always curious though, when somebody graduates from one substance to another in a really quick succession, why? Is it because like if one's good, 100's better? Like let's just keep pushing the envelope. See, can I get more high? Can I get even less noise? Like more euphoria? Do you remember kind of what drove you to continue to dabble with different shit?
I don't know exactly. The only thing that I can say to that is I just enjoyed being out of my skin. I liked I I wanted to live this sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle my whole life because I grew up listening to MTV and started playing guitar at a young age. I grew up in a musically inclined family, and seeing the Motley Crues and the Guns N' Roses and Poison and all these '80s hair metal bands running the
Yeah.
Sunset Strip with all these hot, beautiful women and
You're like, that's
partying.
gotta be me.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I started learning how to play guitar and started playing, in local bands, and I just took it to that level. I wanted to live that lifestyle and show that that's exactly who I was.
I'm curious because of well, I wasn't gonna, like, jump in with this, but, so I had my 18, almost 19-year-old died in December because he was sold some bad shit. I didn't know he was using, but anyway.
Oh my
Um
God, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And one of the things that he really I mean, you're describing him perfectly, like, like he all the same shit, all the just, can't quiet the noise, whatever. But one of the things that he really talked about there at the end just seemed like a real struggle for him was this idea of masculinity. and feeling this resentment, feeling that the men in his life had not taught him enough about masculinity. And I wondered if that's anything, even in hindsight, that you could identify for yourself, if there was some sort of masculinity in this sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle that if even if this was the only time you were thinking about it, I'm wondering if that was any role, because I've heard this more and more from people.
That's a really interesting question. My dad was always at work, and my brother and I were both raised by my mother for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, and then when my dad was around, my brother played a lot of sports, and my dad was a sports kind of guy, and he took more to my brother than he did me. And my mom was always super supportive. My brother was getting dropped off at flag football practice or baseball practice, and I was getting dropped off at the local junior college for art classes. So, I think maybe, I don't think, I think I was more angry when I look back on it now. Like I said, that my dad didn't ever come into the room and go, "Hey, so what'd you learn on guitar today?" My dad loved music, but never did he take interest in what I was doing with it per se. So maybe I've always been pretty in touch with my feminine side. So maybe there's a part of that,
Yeah.
um, it could be some kind of correlation there. But yeah,
I was
that's
just
an interesting
curious
thought.
because I've been hearing that and I was like, huh. And I also wonder too, you said you were angry kind of in high school. Were you ever a fighter?
I got into a lot of fights. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, and Jake, that was my son. He before he got into martial arts, he was always looking for a fight to prove that he was tough. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Brother, you keep getting your ass kicked, so I don't think the plan's
I more or
worthwhile."
less kept getting my ass kicked because I was messing around with other dudes' girls, or, you know, my
Sex,
friend's
drugs, and rock and
sister,
roll. Okay,
yeah,
and
my
how old
friend's
are you?
sister. I'm 48 now.
Okay, okay. So, you're only 2 years older than me, so we definitely I know I know what generation you're talking about. Thank you for telling me you're an Aquarius. That I'm a Gemini, so I feel like I understand air signs pretty well. But I'm
Okay.
wondering, okay, so like what did life on heroin look like? Where were you living? What was going on?
I was living with my mom and my stepdad, and it was scary, um, powerful, deceptive,
Mm,
lonely, sad. I did a lot of throwing up,
yeah.
a lot of throwing up, a lot of
Yeah.
sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, when I think about it, and I've talked about this quite often, that the very first time I did it, I threw up so hard that I thought I was going to die, me and one of my really good friends. And the next day I did it again,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I remember my mom cooking dinner and me being in my bedroom with black lights everywhere and just playing guitar, nonstop, and doing heroin in my mom's food, although she's an amazing down home country cooking that I love dearly. I remember like having to run. We had one bathroom. We lived in this cute little house. It was me, my brother, my stepdad, and my mom, and we had one bathroom. And my mom has ears that could hear anything, so I would run out of the house, into the garage, through the kitchen, into the garage, around the side of the house, and throw up as hard as I can. And I was skinny and pale white, and my eyes had no life in them. And then come in and sit down to eat dinner, and I remember just force feeding myself. And three of my best friends died of heroin overdoses. We would leave the funerals and go right back out and get more. And I started getting into smoking crack a lot back then, and man, it was wild.
Man.
So heroin and crack together,
Yeah, what's
yeah,
that like? It was a trip.
it was a trip. It was I thought it was fun back then because I
Yeah, I
was
bet you
having
did.
the I don't know, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll that came along with that was just leave it at that. It was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
yeah.
imagine. Were you having any sort of like real relationships then?
No, every relationship I've ever had in my entire life has all been based on drugs and alcohol. All the girls I dated partied. Um, you know, but as far as relationships go, I'm really a all the way in loving person, or I'm not in it at all. I'm
Okay.
really good at separating those emotions. Like I could have those friends with benefits and
Well,
walk
you are
away.
an Aquarius.
Yeah, I could, look at it as just that and keep it very simple when that would cause a lot of problems, with girls saying they could or wanted that, but
Yeah,
wanted more. And
yeah,
I was very easily able to say, oh, no, I got to go. But when I get into a relationship, I take my time with it because I know I love hard. I don't just fall in love easily, but when I do, I, I fall in love. Like I love that person. And I saw my dad cheat on my mom and I saw what kind of destruction that did. So I've never been that type of person because when I got into a relationship, I was there. Like I'm in it. But when I
yeah,
get out, I'm out. Like I don't look back, but I also am the type that even though it was hard to really understand who I was or what I was doing, I've never been the type that just goes from relationship to relationship in that sense that I will throw up and cry and be upset. And even if it was my decision to do so, and I wait, what did I learn? What did I like? What did I not like? What will I do better? What won't I do better? How can I extend myself more? How can I give less of myself? All those kind of things. And because from an early age, I did understand that I love really hard and I care about people. And, so yeah, relationships are always kind of up and down for me.
yeah. That makes sense though.
Well, when you surround yourself with those kind of people, you're just in a wild ride the whole time. So it was just
Yes.
kind of, it was kind of nuts.
I'm picturing the types of relationships that you must have had at that point in your
Yeah.
life, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that you had a lot of fun for your age.
I had more fun than most people will ever get to live and survive in their lifetime. That's for sure.
How did
Can
you what
guarantee you
made
that
you
much.
what made you decide to get clean from heroin?
It, I don't know. The last rehab I went to, I was working for a company. I don't know if you remember, you probably do. Southwestern Bell. Do you
Yes.
remember that company?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my aunt worked there and she put in a good word for me, but I had to go through, I was 18 years old and I had to go through all these crazy tests to get the job. Like she just put in a good word for me. There were stacks of applications, but mine kind of went on top. But um, I was I was pretty messed up at this time, and I ended up getting the job. And I was like the youngest person that worked in this office, and I was falling asleep at my desk all the time. I would leave for lunch. It was in South Lake. I would leave South Lake, fly to downtown Fort Worth on my lunch break, my hour lunch, get um, a couple caps of heroin and a couple caps of cocaine, and I would do them real quick in my car, fly back to work, and I'd be like passing out at my desk. And so they were wondering what was going on, but I was a union member at that company at Southwestern Bell, so they couldn't just fire me. So they kept putting me on step after step, and they sent me to a couple rehabs. And then I'd already been to rehabs for it before, but I also knew that this last time they sent me to a rehab in San Antonio, and there was something that happened. I don't know. I was just scared that I was going to die. I got really scared of death, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And I could continue to do all the other drugs and still party. I just didn't have to do heroin anymore. And finally something clicked. I think I was 22, maybe 23 at the oldest, but I think I want to say 22 when I finally kicked the heroin for the last time and never looked back with that one.
Man, it's a hard one. It's so hard. Okay, so after heroin, you were about 23. What did life look like then? You still working at Southwestern Bell?
For a few more months, and then I decided that the corporate life just wasn't for me. And now my dad is super happy. Everybody in my family is super happy because I've got this great job. I'm young. I've got a 401k.
Uh-huh.
I've got benefits. I've got union. My dad was a union member at American Airlines. And so they're thinking, oh God, he's finally going to get his head on straight. everything's going to be working out fine. But I walked into work one day and I had a union rep and I said, I can't do this anymore. What was really interesting is they had, before I got sent to that rehab, I was on my third step and I had 4 steps to go and then they could finally fire me. And, I'd already, the first 2, I couldn't be late. So I had to be there at 8. We had a 15-minute break at, 2 hours later, then lunch, then break, and then go home. And we clocked in on our telephone when we got to our desk. And my manager could not stand me, could not stand me because I kept getting away with everything. And every time I got into trouble, I would, do whatever I had to do to stay out of trouble. I would just really push myself. And so I was on a 1 year, whatever you want to call it, 1 year in trouble where if I made one mistake, if I clocked in 1 second late, and trust me, she watched it like a hawk.
She did hate
And
you.
yeah, just waiting to fire me, just waiting to fire me. And I went 1 year without messing up one time. No, I did not give them one reason to let them fire me. And so when I walked in on that 365 day, my entire pod like had balloons and cake and all kinds of stuff ready for me.
Oh,
No one could believe that I did it. Everybody knew that I would be gone, but I proved them wrong. Don't tell me I can't do something, please. If don't,
yes. Yeah.
just don't. But I started messing up again, and that's when they offered me one last chance, and they sent me to a rehab in San Antonio, and that's when I quit. But after that, I finally I said I can't do this anymore, and I quit. And I don't even remember what I did after that. I think I just, who knows? I don't even remember what I did after that. I just left and started. I don't know. I was probably still selling a lot of drugs and making money that way. Some of that early and mid 25 years are kind of a blur, but yeah, at 28, I ended up getting in so much trouble from selling drugs. This is, several years later that, I was still playing guitar in local bands and getting into a lot of trouble. I was still in and out of jail. But as far as work, I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I was just selling a lot of drugs and, um, I got in trouble with the FBI and,
Oh,
was
good.
dating a girl whose dad was an FBI agent. And, I ended up doing 18 months in county jail and then like 7 months in, a prison in South Texas. And so, yeah, it was just wild, wild, wild,
Yeah.
wild.
What were your 30s like?
I got out of prison right before my 30th birthday and, was sober somewhat. I started working for my aunt and uncle's mobile lab and x-ray company and, was on parole. And I had to, my back was really killing me. So I started noticing that I was friends with all these doctors. And so they started writing me pain pill prescriptions. And so I was able to pass my drug test because I wasn't using any drugs that weren't prescribed to me. And as soon as I got off, I started hanging out with an old friend and got right back on the meth and drinking really bad.
Mm.
It was always Xanax, Vicodin, and drinking. That was just part of my everyday thing. That was always consistent. And then as soon as I got off, yeah, I started the meth. And back then it was speed. It was, it wasn't the meth it is today.
I remember.
Yeah, back when it was good and fun.
My older brother got really bad into speed and ended up fucking schizophrenic from like a
Yeah,
4-day
no,
bender. Yeah, it was really
4 days. That's rookie.
yeah, it did him in. I mean, he had done a lot of psychedelics up to that point too, and then something just snapped and that motherfucker has never been the same. Okay,
Yeah.
so now you are sober. What
Hmm.
does life look like now? Something that I was really drawn to on your profile was this idea that consistency and schedule and routine have been really helpful for you. And I like
Yes.
knowing that because I'm working with a couple of people in active addiction right now and I'm like, shit, Yeah, I can tell you the like therapeutic shit, but like I don't know that shit intimately. So, and thus far, my track record with having addict family members is like I don't help them at all.
When I got sober, for the first 90 days, I was just a wreck, right? There was no rhyme or reason to any of it. It was just maintaining not using or drinking that day. That's all that was. And then about 5 to 6 months later, I was really kind of starting to figure out who I was and living like this, and was just excited about, man, I haven't used, or done anything in 6 months. This is crazy. And I started feeling excited about life for the first time ever in a way that I've never experienced. And I just started I started noticing that I was doing things differently, such as meditation, such as staying grateful for the simple things in life. I noticed that I was getting up out of bed and thanking God for another chance at life, the roof over my head, the shoes on my feet, the clothes on my back, and the food in my stomach. And I just, these were just things that just started happening. I wasn't really preparing for them. It just became these little disciplines that I started putting into my life. And, when you get sober, you start losing a lot of people in your life that no longer want to associate with you and that was fine because I'd already kind of disassociated everybody out of my life anyway, because right before I got sober, I was, doing everything by myself. I got into a really dark space, and kind of secluded away from everybody for the first time in my life. And that's what made it, so different this time, and so much harder to get through. But I noticed that I didn't care about being around anybody anymore. I was and still am, I'm still the same way now. I focus on me every day. And I started, going to the gym, and what else did I do? There's so many little things that just kind of started forming habits over,
Yeah.
like waking up and not letting my phone and outside influences start my day. So I wake up and I say that I'm grateful for these things, and then I don't touch my phone. I sit and drink coffee with my dog in the dark. I do not touch my phone. I don't turn on the TV. I don't look for outside things to bring joy or fun or anything into my life. The beginning of the day is the way that I start my day for me, not anybody else, not anything else. And that became a routine that today is like a non-negotiable. You're not going to be able to get me out of that routine, because again, it allows me to start my day, and not you or anybody else. Then the meditation kind of started coming into play, and learning how to let the thoughts race, because again, my brain doesn't ever shut off. So it was learning how to just sit and breathe and focus on breath, and not letting outside things um, have such emotion and attach emotions to these thoughts. They're just thoughts. There's no
Mm-hmm.
reason to just sit there and dwell on them. And then I started thinking about not being concerned about my past anymore. Those were all just stepping stones to lead me to where I'm at today. So learning how to not regret any decision, or shame myself, or be angry that the choices I made, and the hardship that I endured and put on myself, and all the good times as well. And so learning how to really be present, and not thinking about the future, not living in hopes for tomorrow, or having this, or got to make this happen, or looking in the past, or living in the past. And learning how to stay present, and being grateful for everything that is happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
right now. And that's taken a lot of daily work and reflection. And I still do it to this day. Like, again, those are things in my life that are non-negotiable. That is just the way I live my life. And for me, it's been a way that keeps me joyful, and it keeps me happy. And more important than anything, it keeps me peaceful. I've learned how
Mm-hmm.
to protect my energy. And if energy and peace were currency, I spend it very well. I'm very smart with my peace and my energy. I don't just give it out to anybody. I'm kind of hard to access because I'm so determined on bettering myself every day. And so yeah, that's just a part of the way that I look at life now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's funny because I used to say that all the time too. I don't not believe it anymore, but it was like an epiphany one day when I was like, peace is currency. It sounds like you really learned how to have compassion and forgiveness for yourself too, and understanding. It made me
Definitely.
wonder if you've reached that place where you're almost grateful for all of the fuck ups because you can't have light without darkness. Like you have to have the contrast. The how you experience darkness expands your capacity for light because now you have something to compare it to. So it also sounds like it's so easy for you to access gratitude because you're like, hey, I'm not fucking doing all that shit anymore.
Right. No, you nailed it. I'm beyond grateful for it. Like I think gratitude is, besides love, the word gratitude is just huge in my life. I'm grateful for everything that I lived through because I lived through it,
Yeah.
and I'm proud of who I am today. And so when I look in the mirror and I'm able to look at myself and say, I'm proud of you. I love you. I'm so happy and grateful that, you're still here and are able to change not only your life, but your outlook on life. So I wouldn't be here without all those moments. And I'm beyond grateful for it all. I put my mother,
Yeah.
my family, myself through a lot, but when I feel the way that I do and I've changed my life the way that I have, they are even more excited and more grateful and more loving for it because they always knew that there was something more that I could do with my life. And so they're just grateful to see that, I've been able to do something with myself.
Yeah, that resonates because, like, as a family member, I've loved lots of people who were addicts. It was so easy to forgive because it was like, man, I don't fucking care. You're not doing it anymore. Excellent. Unfortunately, everyone in my life, they like it's hard for me because so my dad died when I was 15 of an acute morphine overdose, and then my mom died when I was 22 from hep C and or complications related to that and cirrhosis. And the phrase "we do recover" kind of gets me as, like, a loved one, because 'cause I'm like, "If you don't fucking die, you do." I'm it's hard for me. I love addicts. I have this heart for them, but it's also like, I hope you do because the alternative is really ugly, like, every time. And so I'm glad, like, I don't hear very many people say, I'm glad I made it." Like, I'm grateful that that's not where I am and that I am alive, and I love that that's a perspective that you have because I don't hear that a lot. So, I'm glad you made it
Yeah.
too, and I'm glad for your family that
Well,
you made
thank
it.
you. Thank
Um,
you so much.
so what are you doing now? What is, that's what we're here to kind of promote. What are you doing?
So I started live streaming on TikTok and sharing my story with my 85-year-old landlord who took me in and gave me a chance, got me off the streets, helped me get sober. I started live streaming and built this incredible, amazing community, which has now turned into the Crab Crew family. Um, Crabs are super resilient, they're adaptive, and they can claw themselves from the depths of hell. And so through TikTok, I started getting all these crab gifts being sent to me during my live stream. And I started getting gifts from all over the world. From people sending me crab shorts, crab boxers, crab socks, crab t-shirts, crab blankets, crab keychains, just crab everything. I started researching on what crabs are about, and I found it so interesting that their amount of resilience and adaptability to life blew me away. And that's exactly what I've had to learn to be, or that I was possibly even training for my entire life without really realizing, because you
Yeah.
could put me in any situation. Moving out to California by myself and not knowing anybody or having anybody, I had to adapt to that. Life hit. How did I bounce back? A lot of times it's not just about making these huge leaps and bounds. It's about just getting back up. And
Yes.
oftentimes getting back up is just step one, and that's okay. As long as you can get back up, that's a step in the right direction. So I started really thinking about how have I become adaptive and resilient in this new body, this new spirit, this new Bryan that I've never known anything about. And I just started taking to paper. I got a pen and a piece of paper and just could not stop writing, and came up with, well, what did I have to do to change? I had to get clean, but it wasn't just getting clean from drugs and alcohol. It was cleaning my mind, body, and spirit. It was changing the thoughts. It was changing the way that I saw myself. It was changing the way that I saw the lies that I've been telling myself for so many years. Like, you're just always going to be this way. This is just who you are, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. That's fine. Not beating myself up over it. It was just all I knew. And this is just what I do. This is just who I am. Often, but knowing on the inside that there was always a possibility of something being greater, and that's what really led me to the curiosity, about changing my situation. But and then the R was perfect for resilience. I've learned how to get back up. I've learned how to bounce back when life hits, and a lot of times it was just getting back up, nothing more. You can knock me back down, but at least I'm standing up.
Yeah.
And then being adaptable to your circumstances, to your situations. We can't control the storm, but we can adjust the sail just by 1%. When I started really looking into that, we can't control the circumstances and the situations that happen. Sometimes they just happen. And sometimes it's because you made crappy decisions. Sometimes it's because you made awesome decisions and you're living in these experiences. For me, I started really thinking about, well, becoming adaptive is not just a way of survival, it's a way of peace,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just adapting to what you're going through and realizing that it's not permanent, it's not going to last forever. You're more than likely being put through whatever it is you're going through because there's something greater on the other side of it that you're not thinking about or that you can't even see yet. And that information and that way of looking at and changing my perspective on life really became a passion that developed inside me. And then the B, well, when I got sober, the day that I got sober, I got really quiet inside while I was brushing my teeth, and I heard something that was not me. It was God, source, love, Jesus, call it whatever you want. I don't know. It was not me. It was something greater than myself. I heard the words, "You are worth it." And I believed it. I believed it. And so that led to being the foundation that everything is stacked on top of.
I
Right.
love
And
that.
so, yeah, it became clean, resilient, adaptive, and belief. And I started living my life through those disciplines that I create for myself on a daily basis, and then started showing people and teaching people that life is precious and it's only this long. We
Yeah.
never know when that last breath is going to be taken. So, what can we do to help each other pull the next person out of that crab bucket, right? Because if you put crabs in a bucket in any kind of container, they try to claw themselves out of it while the other ones will pull them back down.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it wasn't just people, places, or things pulling me back down. A lot of times it was me pulling myself back down into those same ways of thinking, those same thoughts, those same activities. So, um, to me, it's frequency and vibration. If I can help myself and get through it, I can help somebody else, and that person can help somebody else, and that person can help somebody else, and break that whole crab mentality cycle that you don't have to be that crab that's always getting pulled back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely sounds like you've reached that place where you're like, oh, I can certainly see why that was my experience so that I can
Mhm.
now be this light for others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you
I
believe that
didn't
things
know that
happen
at the
for you
time.
and not to you?
That's the way I look at life. I don't look at life that happens to me.
Yeah.
Life does not happen to me. It does not happen to you. That's nuh-uh. That's an old way of thinking. Life happens for me. Good, bad, or indifferent. It is here for an experience. It's here for a lesson. It's here for a reason.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do when life hits?
Yeah.
How are you going to rise above it? How are you going to continue to move on and stay grateful for what you do have and not look at the things you don't have?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like okay and normal to take a minute when things are shit and be like, damn, things are really shit right now and
Oh,
sit
for
in that
sure.
for a second.
For
So I
sure.
just want to name that because I think a lot of times people can hear these things and think we mean, someone else it worse than you. So if I can be grateful for what you have, and we mean that a little bit, but we also, I want to name that it's okay to have a minute when you're feeling sorry for yourself and whatever, but it's what you do the next minute that matters.
Right. Life can be messy. Going through a personal change and personal growth can be messy. That's okay. No
It
one
should
is
be. It should
claiming,
completely unravel you.
right. There's nobody or me definitely not saying that things are going to look pretty and be perfect. That
Right.
is not the way that it goes, because when you start making those changes, things do fall apart.
They do.
Things do
Yeah.
get scary. They get uncomfortable, but that's when the real growth and the real transformation happens. And it's okay to be scared of what's next. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to be lost or sad or emotions through the roof over. That's quite all right. It's expected.
Yeah, it should
It's
be.
it's
Yeah.
it's learning that those moments are breaking you, right? They're shedding out that old skin and allowing a new person to grow through it. And so
Yeah.
yeah, all those things are okay. Yeah, you can acknowledge, man, I'm really feeling like crap right now. I don't like this. Well,
Yeah.
that is expected, my friend. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You know you're doing it right when you have some moments where you're like, fuck, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
I definitely have had these moments where I'm like, damn, because I grew up religious, but I'm not religious anymore, but I'm super spiritual. And so
Yes.
I believe that we picked our experience, that we chose
Huh?
kind of what our struggles were going to be and whatever. And when my son died, I was like, all right, shit. Okay. I really signed up for some shit. Apparently, I only love addicts and I'm going to be surrounded by them for my whole life. And, I'm going to learn some shit from that. But whatever the end goal here is, I want to make sure that I get what I signed up for. Like, I don't want to go through all of this fucking shit ass pain for nothing. So I'm like even more committed to the mission now where I'm like, okay, just, whatever it is, I guess. But it's like also I'm afraid to say that because like some of the programming sticks with you from religion. Whereas like when I was like 5, I was the kid praying for wisdom because I heard the story of King Solomon and I was like, I just want to be wise. And then,
Yep.
when you ask for wisdom, you're going to receive a lot of shit that gives you wisdom. So that's where I'm at now is where I'm like, I got to be careful what I ask for. Cause like I said, oh, I want to learn everything I set out to learn. And then I was like, you know what though? Not all at one time. That would be great. So I'm like trying to chill on the lessons right now. I said, let's chill the fuck out on lessons and let's be in a season of receiving right now. So that's where I'm at is I'm like, no, all good things are coming. And they have been. It's working so great. But it's funny
Yeah.
because I definitely had the victim mentality before. Wouldn't have ever said that. If someone had said that to me, I would have been super pissed because I was like, I'm a survivor. And that was really like my identity. It's not my identity now. I just think this was like the human experience, but I really struggled with believing that some force greater than me was like punishing me for shit or something. And now I'm like it's all just a part of this experience that I seemingly chose for myself, which is so sweet, but whatever. But it does make it so much easier to get through the messy middle when you're just like, okay, it's always over eventually. The bad shit is always behind you at some point. So how do I want to get to the other side? Do I want to get there white knuckling this shit or do I want to get there in peace? And so I try really hard to just understand it's not happening to me, it's happening for me and it always gets better eventually. And it does. It always has, it always will. And I think that's really
Right.
important for people to understand too.
It is. And you said some really great things. I am also a firm believer that we chose this life. I to learn that lesson. I truly believe that I had to. It was necessary for me to go through all the things that I've gone through to be able to be where I'm at today and help other people and learn to grow and see life from a different perspective and shine a light on a lot of the stuff that people may not understand or might be going through with a loved one or might be going through themselves. I also am a firm believer that you better watch out what you pray for, because if you think you're going to start praying for love, if you think God is just going to drop a love into your lap, you are poorly mistaken, my
Or
friend.
patience.
Or patience or strength or courage, wisdom, knowledge,
Oh,
understanding. You're going to
yeah, I
get
had to learn that.
everything but that, because when you start praying for patience, you're going to be thrown everything that you can handle or may feel that you can't even handle
Mm-hmm.
to grow those patience.
Yeah, exactly.
You get
You're
things
gonna
taken
give all the
away from
reasons
you.
not to.
Yeah, you start getting things taken away from you and stripped away, so you love what you do have and start loving you, because you can't pour from an empty cup. I can't love you if I don't love myself.
Yes.
And
That was an
those are things
interesting
that,
lesson for me, was like learning what love actually is only the love that you have for yourself, and then you just like give from the overflow and you share that with others. And then I learned, oh, this is why I felt like nobody loved me like I loved them, was because I didn't love me at all, actually. Even though I would have said otherwise, I would be like, you have to love yourself. But I fucking had no clue how to do that.
yeah. And so if you start asking God or your higher power or whatever it is that you believe in, doesn't have to be God, Jesus, it can be whatever you think is beyond yourself, right? Of your own understanding, as they say. But yeah, you start, love is one of the big ones. It was for me that I had to learn how to love myself and become strong in who I am. And if I didn't, if I can't love myself, again, I can't pour love into somebody else. And then there's a fine balance of keeping your cup full and being able to give to other people, but still learn how to receive and keep yourself full, right? Because if you start depleting yourself, then, things just start falling apart and you start kind of questioning things like, do they love me? Why do I love so hard? And
Yeah.
all those things kind of fall into place with that.
Yes.
So it's a fine line of learning how to receive and giving yourself grace and truly understanding that we're all here for experiences, right? We all love to, you know, have these great experiences, and love is one of them, if not the highest one.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it takes a lot of heartbreak and a lot of hardship before you truly start realizing that once you have grace for yourself and joy and peace and learn how to protect your energy and your inner peace, and you start looking at that from we'll keep it simple. As within, so without. Period. End of discussion. Exclamation point. If you
Yep.
put crap in, this world will reflect it. It's the the mirror effect. However you want to look at it, it's been around way before all of us were here.
Yep.
That what you put as beloved, so below. Whatever you put in is whatever you get out. You put crap
Yep.
in, you're gonna get crap out. If you put good in, you'll get good. Doesn't mean it's always rainbows and butterflies and sprinkle
Right.
covered donuts. What kind of experience would life be if everything just worked out all the time? It wouldn't be any fun. You'd get bored of it.
Well, and you'd never have anything to compare it to. How can you have
That
gratitude
too.
if you've never experienced not things to be
Loss.
grateful for? Yeah. Yeah. I
Right.
mean, that was a big one for me, is realizing, man, if I didn't have those really shitty times to compare this time to, I don't know what I would like. I'm so grateful that I'm able to, that I'm still here and that I'm still able to love and have joy and peace and abundance, but you don't see all that if you haven't seen the other side of things. But also, just I mean, it was a decision for me after losing a child to that I deserve still to have as much of those things still that I can receive in this lifetime. I think some
Sure.
people think when they're grieving, they go through these things where it's like they shouldn't feel happy again or whatever. I'm glad I had done so much work on myself prior to the loss, because I definitely wouldn't have made it otherwise. But I was like, no, I still deserve a good life, and I'm the only one who can give that to me, so I'm still going to try hard every day to do that, and it doesn't mean it's not hard. And then the other side of that is like becoming okay with people judging the way you're doing shit, and I'm like, you know what though? I wouldn't want to be that mom who's like on the ground not knowing how to get up from this. I'm so grateful that I have the tools to get up every day and still be incredibly grateful. I have 2 other children. I'm very grateful for them. I'm grateful for my life, and I do deserve a good life. So I'm going to continue to give myself one. But I think that we can
Absolutely.
get really caught in the idea of worthy, not worthy, deserving, not deserving, and comparing ourselves to others. And I just don't think any of us are on a pedestal. I think we're all
Mm-mm.
really equal. So I think that sets us apart from people to keep ourselves safe, you know?
Well, if you start putting people, places, and things on pedestals, that keeps you at a lower frequency, a lower vibration, and allowing yourself to believe that you're not worthy of being there yourself.
Right.
So it's again, it's a lot of perspective changing. You do
Yes.
deserve the best things in life. No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you're going through now, does not mean you're not worthy of having the best possible life while you're here.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times it's difficult, man. It's not easy to sometimes just stop and go, and you know what? First of all, if I'm going to be judged by the best decisions and the best choices I could possibly ever make for myself, and I'm also going to be judged for the decisions that people think are wrong and dumb or stupid or not worthy of whatever outcome, I might as well live the best life that I can for me. Because you're going to judge
Exactly.
me either way. Why am I worrying myself if I'm making the right decision for this person or for that person? You're not living
Mhm.
my life. I'm not living your life. I'm living my life. If you like it, I will love that. I'll be right there with you. I'm a ride or die type person. If you don't, that is okay too. Change the
Yep.
channel. It
Exactly. We're just not aligned, and that is okay.
yeah, it's okay. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Well, that was a big one for me is learning like you're not for everyone. Like you're not going to be for everyone and that is okay. But there was
Well,
some
everyone's not for
lessons
you
in
either.
there. Yeah.
Right? Everyone's not for you. You have people
Yep.
that you know. So why isn't it okay in society for me to say, like, you're not for me? Well,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not for you.
And
That's
it was that
okay.
inverse that helped me get there because I started evaluating how I made those decisions about people and I'm like, I don't hate people that I say, "Oh, not for me." I don't hate them. I'm not saying they're a piece of shit. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying,
Exactly.
"Oh, not for me." And that helped me
Right.
to understand too, that's how they're making those decisions about me too, and it doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. Like,
You can
why can't
still
you
be a
focus on what is
beautiful,
for you?
you can still be a beautiful, awesome, great human being. We just don't align in daily communication or being around each other. I'm not
Mhm.
talking bad about you. I still,
Right.
you're a human being. I still have care and love for you, and I still want you to succeed and be everything that you can be. You and I just, I'm on 98.7 and you're on 93.3. I mean, it's okay.
Exactly. Oh, that was a big lesson for me. It was. Well, I have loved having you. Tell us where we can find you.
Crabcrewlife.com. Crabcrewlife.com. All my social media is there. You can learn more about Elaine and myself, a little bit more about my story and what I'm doing now. And like I said, all the social medias, the TikTok, I'm still doing live streams on TikTok, and they're a lot of fun. So if you want to see some Southern California and meet some great people and have some fun, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Well, it was awesome meeting you, and I will make sure to include all of that in the show notes. So, audience, make sure you check there. And I'm just glad I got to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was a great time.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna press stop if you'll hang up for 1 sec. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.